Today, we're diving into the secret world of newborns to uncover their very first hidden superpowers, their neonatal reflexes. Let's get into it.
You've probably seen this yourself, right? A baby suddenly flings their arms out or their tiny hand clamps onto your finger with this surprising strength. It might seem totally random, but it's actually a sign of some incredible pre-installed programming at work.
So, what's the science behind these weird little movements? Let's break down exactly what these reflexes are, and more importantly, why they are so absolutely crucial for a baby's development.
Okay, so think of neonatal reflexes as a baby's factory settings, or maybe their built-in survival software. These aren't choices they're making. They're completely automatic responses run by the most primitive parts of the brain, the brainstem and the spinal cord. And their whole job is to do three things: keep the baby alive, help them eat, and protect them from danger.
And this is exactly why doctors check these reflexes from the moment a baby is born. They're like a first peek into the health of the central nervous system. You see, if a reflex that should be there is absent, that could signal a problem. And on the flip side, if a reflex sticks around for way too long, that can also be a red flag. These tiny movements tell a huge story about a baby's neurological health.
So, how does this all play out in the real world? Let's start with the most critical reflexes of all, the ones that help a newborn find and eat their first meals.
First up, we've got the rooting reflex. It's so simple, but it's absolutely brilliant. If you gently stroke a baby's cheek, you'll see them automatically turn their head right toward your finger and open their mouth, searching for a nipple. It's their own built-in GPS for finding food.
But here's the thing. This reflex isn't meant to last forever. It does its job for the first 3 or 4 months, and then it just fades away. And this is a really important milestone because it shows the brain is maturing and the baby is starting to get more conscious control over their body. So, once that rooting reflex has helped them find the food source, the sucking reflex takes over. The second something touches the roof of their mouth, they automatically start to suck. This isn't something they have to learn, it's a vital instinct for feeding from day one. And just like rooting, this one evolves. Around 4 to 6 months, the automatic part of the sucking reflex disappears. But the action itself doesn't. It shifts from being an involuntary reflex to a voluntary, controlled skill. It's another key sign of a healthy, developing brain taking over the controls.
Okay, so babies have the eating thing down, but how do they protect themselves? Well, this next group of reflexes acts as a baby's personal built-in security system.
Oh yeah, this is the one you've definitely seen, the Moro, or startle reflex. A loud noise, a sudden movement. It triggers this really dramatic response. First, the baby flings their arms out and spreads their fingers wide. Then, just as quickly, they pull their arms back in, almost like they're trying to grab onto you. It's basically a primitive fight or flight response.
The Moro reflex is a huge deal for doctors. It's one of the most important signs they check for neurological health. They want to see that it's strong and symmetrical on both sides of the body. But it's supposed to disappear by about 6 months. If it hangs around longer than that, it could be a sign of an issue.
All right, next, let's look at the reflexes that are literally the building blocks for future skills. These automatic movements are paving the way for complex actions like grabbing things and even walking.
You know this one, the palmar grasp. You put your finger in a newborn's palm and they grab on with this unbelievably strong grip. And while it feels like a really sweet gesture, it's not a sign of affection, just yet. It's an involuntary reflex that's the very first step toward developing the fine motor skills they'll need later.
And, you guessed it, this powerful little death grip also has an expiration date. It fades away around 4 to 6 months, clearing the path for the baby to start intentionally reaching for and holding onto objects.
All right, this next reflex has a fantastic nickname that perfectly describes what it looks like: the fencing position.
So here's what happens. It's called the asymmetrical tonic neck reflex. When a baby is just lying on their back and you turn their head to one side, the arm on that same side straightens out, while the opposite arm bends up. It looks exactly like a tiny fencer. This is an amazing little preview of hand-eye coordination.
This charming little pose also disappears pretty early on, typically fading away by about 4 to 5 months as the baby's brain develops more sophisticated control over its body.
Now for a really famous one, the Babinski reflex. If you stroke the sole of a baby's foot, their big toe bends back and up and the other little toes fan out. What's wild is that this exact same response in an adult would be a major red flag for a neurological problem, but in a baby, it's perfectly normal and expected. And the Babinski is the long-distance runner of the group. It sticks around the longest, usually not disappearing until the baby is 1 or even 2 years old. Its long journey and eventual disappearance is a super clear sign that the nervous system is gradually maturing.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What does this intricate, incredible system of reflexes really tell us about a baby's health? Let's summarize the vital role they play.
This table really lays it all out. You can see here that if a reflex is just absent, it could point to a brain injury. A really weak reflex might suggest something like low blood sugar. If the response is asymmetrical, stronger on one side than the other, it could be a sign of a physical injury. And as we've said, a reflex that hangs on too long can be a sign of a condition like cerebral palsy.
And this timeline just shows the developmental journey so beautifully. Look at the orderly progression here. The early reflexes for basic survival and posture fade out first, making way for more complex skills. It all culminates with the Babinski reflex fading as the nervous system gets ready for walking and balance. It's a perfectly orchestrated sequence. So, you see, these reflexes are so much more than just quirky baby behaviors. They are the absolute foundation for every voluntary movement that comes later. And as each one of these automatic programs fades away, a new, consciously learned skill rises up to take its place. Which really makes you wonder, right? What incredible new skills come next?